here's how this guy kind of goes. The rules of this dimensioning style kind of go like this. You don't want to dimension to a hidden line. I think we talked a little bit about this already. The reason you don't want to dimension to a hidden line is because it's bad practice, and it gets very confusing because now if something doesn't exist in another view, you're kind of looking and going, where's that dimension supposed to go? Like, if that thing doesn't exist. So you can't dimension to a hidden line. Don't do it, period. The other part of this is they really don't want you to cross extension lines. So something that looks like this, you don't have to do this, just watch. Something that looks like this, that's no good, okay? Because you can kind of see, as I set this down, this intersection right here, that's bad news bears, okay? This guy right here, that causes a problem because it can lead to confusion on which way the extension line goes. Most people on a pretty simple drawing can figure it out, but when you start to add complexity, you know, we're talking 3 or 4 dimensions. When you have 20, it's a different story. And as we kind of go, you'll notice that some of the drawings we do, there gets to be quite a few that are in a pretty small space, and then it's really confusing to trace these extension lines. So this guy, no good. If you get something that looks like this, it's probably because you need to move one of the dimensions to a different view. Okay? So what I usually will tell students is, here's a couple of things. 1, you can't dimension to a hidden line. 2, you don't want to cross any of these guys. And 3, for the most part, you're going to want to use object lines as border lines. Now that is to say that as I'm going to put this other dimension in, I'm going to do a partial here, and I'm going to do an overall here, and I'm going to do them on the inside. And again, you know, does it have to be that way? No, it doesn't have to be that way. There's no law. You're not going to, you know, get fired for that kind of thing. But for the most part, people like to use these object lines as borders. It looks much neater that way, without dimensions hanging out. Now, when you get into the datum style, it's a different story. That's kind of like controlled anarchy, right? When you have dimensions kind of all over the place. But for this particular style, they like to have them on the inside, between the views, if you will. So the last one I need of this guy is I'm going to do the width of this, and I'm going to do it here. Now, you're going to notice that there's a bit of an issue here. On some of these guys, as you put this thing in, it's going to come out at different heights. And of course, it didn't work for this. I can't believe you're locked out. Ben, you want to catch that door, please? There's a re-entry fee, so you know.
I heard there's a
So this guy, as we go, you'll probably notice that sometimes when you snap this thing, it does not sit at the same height as this one. It'll fall down. I don't know why. I've done it 1,000 times, and again, it's like however interprets that reference is not one. Today, it's working, so we're just going to keep going, and I'll show you on a different one that it won't work on, because I guarantee it'll happen. So for these ones, because these are whole numbers, we're just going to go to the Dimension Style Manager, and we're going to set our precision to whole numbers. And it should look something like that. I'm going to make sure I move all these guys to my dimension layer. And that should be a finished orthographic projection of Ortho1. Yeah.
Might have been the same problem as him.
Do we get dimension top one?
Yeah, where it lands. So watch. If you're, you guys may have this, so if you're having the same problem, as I click this guy and I go up and I type 1.75, yeah, now it's too high, right?
Yeah.
So if I draw a line from here, you're going to notice that it's above that. So how I do that, Brett, and it's not rocket science, I just use whatever one I originally did as a snap reference. So I'm just going to go over here and touch that guy and put it at that height. But
But
like I
what if
said,
your
I have no
first
idea
guy-
why,
Yeah, no,
because
first
you're
guy.
typing in a distance, it should be like that fixed distance, but it doesn't always do it.
But
Sometimes it goes lower, sometimes it goes higher, sometimes it lands at the right line.
Yeah, but what I also meant is my 3 on the one, also sometimes it's not going to the right
Yeah.
leg, so I don't know if it actually is the number.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could, if you wanted to, just type in that 1.75 and see, okay, so that one's the wrong one you're saying?
Yeah.
So then, you know, honestly, this is kind of picky.
Because like every single time I've redone it, it's given me a different line.
Yeah,
I've done it like 5 times now.
So, to answer your question, you could do it that way.
That's a no.
Yeah, but, you know, to make it even better for you, I, it's tough to say, like, I don't care. It's not true. I care. But for this, it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? I pick these numbers at random, like this layout spacing, I picked at random. So if it's not exactly that, but it's consistent, that's what I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's not consistent.
Well, no, I mean like throughout the drawing. Like if yours are a little short, but they're all a little short from 1.75, so be it. But if you have them like, my overalls are here and here, that's not okay. Your overalls should be all in one line, your partials should be all in one line.
I'm just